All right, now let's get to the juicy topic of the day: hiding Hillary. Now, if you all aren't familiar with what I'm talking about with hiding Hillary Clinton, I put some hot sauce, Frank's Red Hot, I put that on everything, Yes, the former First Lady, former Secretary of State, wife to one William Bill Clinton. Yeah. That Hillary. So Hillary's coming under fire because of the recent Durham Report. And if you all aren't familiar with what's going on with the Durham Report, trust me, I understand. Because the way it's being covered is absolutely crazy. But to summarize the Durham Report, it's involving Hillary using these large tech companies to monitor the actions of the Trump campaign back in 2016. And more specifically, they were trying to link the Trump campaign to Russia. And kind of after that, it gets real sticky because you have the left reporting of it long time ago, and how, there was Russian interference and all of this stuff, right? Apparently, this was the source of that. Now you have the Durham Report being filed, and we're getting tidbits of information that possibly Hillary Clinton and her campaign continued doing this after President Trump was elected and was a sitting president. But if you look at some of the left-leaning publications, they push back on this, and they said it happened prior to former President Trump taking office. I don't know. But it's really weird when the first few days of this Durham Report coming out, you don't hear anything from the left. CNN's quiet, MSNBC's quiet, and you got Fox News yelling. You got your mainstream publications, newspapers not saying much, but you got your right-wing publications screaming, right? And this is kind of the juxtaposition of American politics and the media. Too often we have two totally different points of view, two totally different stances looking at a singular item. And when you pull yourself away from it, you go, how in the hell are we evaluating the same thing and we're coming up with such different conclusions? Now, maybe it's true, and I want you to hold on to that, of us evaluating the same thing, and maybe we can reasonably come to polar opposite conclusions, maybe. But I tell you, I can't trust the institutions who aren't talking about it, because it tells me that this is something that is damning to somebody who they're in bed with somebody who they are supporting, with a stance that they may have been behind, and they don't want to go back and say, hey, we got it wrong. That's what it tells me on the surface. But I'm also very skeptical of the other outlet who's screaming at the top of their lungs, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. See what I told you? Maybe you're trying to prove that you were right all along. Or maybe you're just trying to cut the legs out from under those who you consider to be your opposition. But either way, I can't look at either and truly believe that they both are in good faith. And honestly, with what's coming out of this report, just to be brief on that, I think it's more commonplace than we think. I truly do. I think that in these big campaigns, each side is trying to peel back the onion and get as much information as covertly as possible against their opponent so they can do whatever it takes to win the election. Because we know the goal of politicians is to get elected and stay elected. That's the ultimate goal. So when I hear one side being quiet about it, I'm like, oh, well, they probably know that this is what goes on, and they don't really want to report about it because it's the norm. But then you have these different you listen to the right. So I listen to a lot of Fox News, right? And they're calling out CNN. That's fine. Cool. Do what you do. I don't really have a dog in this fight. But I listened to this guy, Greg Gutfeld, and Greg Gutfeld is obviously a satirical, humorous show, right? That's based around what's going on in politics. And I've talked about this on this platform multiple times that we can't go to these opinion based shows. We can't go to these comedy shows and take everything from that as fact because there is an agenda. And when someone's making a joke, all of us can't tell the difference between what's true and what's funny. And that's why you see so many popular shows on Fox News. Like I broke it down that most of their most popular shows aren't news shows. Their primetime shows aren't news shows. They're opinions, you know? So what a lot of people are receiving as reporting isn't true reporting. And I think that's why there's so much distrust for the media as a whole. Because you have this he said, she said, me against him, us against them mentality. And it's like, well, what the hell is actually true? What is actually true? Why? It's like each side is refuting the other in order to just prove their side, right? They already have a conclusion and they're just using the facts that they want to get there instead of presenting the facts to the viewers and allow them to draw a conclusion. Because if you ask me, the media's job is to succinctly summarize complex topics that the average man and woman don't understand and present those topics in a way that they can understand it so that once they receive the information, they can look deeper into it and move forward. Like they have an idea of what's going on. It's not supposed to be the definitive answer all the time. It's your opinion. And your opinion says this. And there almost needs to be like a disclaimer, right? Like, when you're watching something like Jackass or you look at the old albums where it says like parental advisory or, hey, kids, do not do this at home when you're watching wrestling or something like that. I think maybe we're watching Gutfeld or Tucker Carlson. We need to put that up just so that people understand that these are opinions. But the crazy thing about this whole thing is, right? And you got, like I said, the left has been pretty much hiding Hillary. I couldn't find anything video on CNN talking about this today. I did find some print stuff on CNN and in the New York Times, but it's all over Fox News. It's been all over for a couple of days. Is that you do these false equivocations, right? Let's compare this to, well, they're covering Joe Rogan and his use of the N-word and January 6th. You go, well, two things can be the same. I mean, it looks like you all aren't covering this, so it needs to be covered. People need to be educated on this stuff. And they're doing it. Just like, you're pointing a finger at them for not covering something that you think's important. I point one finger at you, I got three pointing back at me. Same boss. And even, comparing this to this is the worst thing since Watergate. Maybe. But I'm willing to bet that what happened on January 6th, 2021 was much worse than Watergate. But what do I know? I'm just a big baby.